Welcome to Saturday, December 13th, 2025. It is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because every Saturday and Sunday we go live for YouTube. You know, we do craft and education on writing on Saturdays, and of course, we do the Write a Book with Me series on Sundays. And every Sundays. Today is going to be focused on what we like to call Rewrite the Greats, and today we are specifically going to be doing A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickinson. Charles Dickinson. So whether you're afraid of the ghosts of Christmas past, present, or future, today we will be exploring that. And I'm going to be talking specifically about author voice. Not necessarily, look at me, I can write, but author voice. So I'm going to go over the piece. I'm going to read the piece, and then I'm going to rewrite the piece. All right? Before we get into it, though, let me do a couple little spiels, and as we wait for some of the audience to pop in. If you didn't know, there is a poll. Boom! What is your instinct for writing the first line of Chapter 1? We have start with action. We have start with character thought. Start with sensory detail. And, of course, start with movement. And then you might be asking yourself, Thomas, what's with your accent? I'm from Long Island, Brooklyn. So we'll talk about that poll at the end of the hour, as we always do. As you can see on the ticker below, if you have questions during this process, please ask them. Ask what I'm doing. Ask questions about your own writing. I am a developmental editor and a writing teacher, so it's like free advice. That's all I'm saying. Other than that, how was your week? That's what we want to know, because it's getting close to Christmas. We are 12 days from the Christmas. So if you haven't done so already, you know, maybe hit that subscribe button, because that helps my Christmas. Hey, what's up, Afghani? Good news for you, sir. I have put on my docket, my to-do for next year. In the beginning of the year, I'm going to do a live video that specifically focuses on when you fear your story will get boring, so you rush the pacing to keep it interesting. All right? The secret isn't about rushing. It's about moving it up and down with speed, because sometimes you need to let the audience sit in moments to absorb as much as they can, as well as the characters. But I'm going to do an actual video on that. We're going to talk about it in a greater detail. And listen. I am paying attention to my listeners, and you're a listener, you're a buddy, and you know, I want to be able to help you as I can. So there you go. That is coming. That'll be one of the live videos for the beginning of the year. So January, February, you might see that. Other than that, let's get into it. Boom, 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 boom. Boop. All right. We're a little light today, but that's okay. Let's get into it, and then we'll talk about it. So, if you've never been to this series before, championship, yeah. Oh, that reminds me. I gotta put my face up here. Look at that, perfect. All right. Put that face up here. All right. So if this is your first time to the series and you're watching this after hours, you might not know, because a lot of the people that watch it every weekend, they know what's going on. But you might be like, hey, what's going on? And I'm going to tell you what's going on. The way I do this is I read through it, I analyze it a little bit, I take some notes, but ultimately my goal is to maintain the narrative thread. I'm not going to change the movement of the piece, but I am going to change the presentation. I'm going to write it specifically in my author's voice. The whole exercise is to show you how to take something that's pre-written and then stick to the fundamentals of the narrative truth, the characters, etc., but then filter it through the way you write your author voice. If you don't know what author voice is, real quick, it's just the choices you make. It's the presentation. Do you write in third person, first person, whatever? Do you write with a lyrical tone? Do you write mechanically? Nothing wrong with mechanical. It's just more straightforward. Do you write, cinematically? Do you write whatever the case is? And if you've watched my show, you know that I specifically write in cinematic, rotating, third-person, limited, with a lyrical tone. And that is what we're going to do. We're going to take what we have here today and we're going to switch it over into the Thomas voice. And it's not to say, hey, look, I write, oh, I'm better. It's just to show you that we can take any story. There are hundreds of stories out there, but there are really only 7, you can tell. And then it's how we present it through our lens that makes it uniquely yours. And therefore, don't worry if somebody's going to steal your writing. What we got here? Hey, Angel Faye. What's up, my friend? All right. Oh, we got 6 people. Let me just mention the poll real quick. What is your instinct for writing the first line of a chapter? We have start with action, start with character, or thought. We have start with sensory detail, and we have start with movement. Just for the record, action is different than movement. Action is physically moving. All right, it's doing something. They punched, they fought, they were running, they were hiding. Movement is that stuff is happening emotionally, mentally, and physically. There's just the story is in motion, but not necessarily that it is action, like kapow. It's just that we are jumping right into it. So a good example of movement would be on the first line, we are in a character's thoughts or emotional moment, and it's like, oh, remember last time I did this? The line, the ravens sat in their settled unkindness. That's movement. So we are creating a visual, an emotional, and or visual. Like it adds all the elements sort of together. That is a terrible distinction of it. But ultimately, movement is that stuff is happening and that it isn't just being described, but that there is a movement to the emotion, that there is a movement to the action, that is a movement. So it's not just dictation. All right. We'll talk about that at the end. Oh, we got some comments. What we got here? I read an embarrassingly bad book the other day. Well, you don't have to tell us the name of the book, but what made it embarrassing bad? I would love to know that. I have bad news about my book I'm writing, The Urban Fan. Well, what happened with the romantasy? Tell me a little bit about that, Angel Faye, and we'll get into it. I sometimes wonder how people aren't embarrassed to publish some of the books. Well, you know, you got to remember, everybody who publishes something, even if it's traditionally published, they're like, this is the best work ever. It's going to be great. But the problem is we all have preferences. But I do agree that some things are good and some things are bad. But again, bad writing can still be beloved by many, as just as great writing could be hated by everyone. You know, so you know it is a process. Oh, thanks for the thing. All right, I lost almost. Whoa! Ooh. Oh, my heart, it goes out to you, Angel Faye. That is. Woo! I'm so sorry that happened. I'm so sorry. All I could say is keep going. You know, maybe it's the fates saying, "Here, try again." I don't know. Whew. But my heart goes out to you, my friend. Hey, what's up, SB? Welcome to the show. The book didn't even feel like an unfinished draft. It felt like an extended outline. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. That's funny. Oh shite, Angel. That is terrible. It happened to me once. Yeah, no, I have my stuff saved to multiple things, and I also always save the PDFs of everything. Yeah, I wrote them during November and I was close to I'm so sorry that happened. I'm so sorry that happened. All right, let me get into it. Everyone that's here, just so you know, hey, what's up, Jake? And I'm so sorry, Angel Faye. Greetings, Tommaso, and everyone else. Also, hi, everyone. Thanks, hi, Jaker. All right, let's get into it. Like I said, we're going to be rewriting the greats. I'm not doing this to show you that I'm a great writer. It's just me showing you how author voice works. We're going to read through, we're going to take some notes, and I'm going to try to maintain the narrative truth and the thread, the purpose of the scene. But I'm going to write it through my style, my author voice, which is cinematic, rotating, third-person limited with a lyrical tone, or a clear lyrical tone. That's not purple prose, not purple prose. Let's get into it. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. All right. Marley was dead to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon change for anything he chose to put his hand to. Interesting. Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. Dead. Dead as a doornail. Dead as a doornail. Doornail. Do 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 do. All right. Mind. I don't mean to say that I know of my own knowledge what there is particularly dead about a doornail. I might have been inclined myself to regard a coffin nail as the deadest piece of ironmongery in the trade. But the wisdom of our ancestors is in the simile, and my unhallowed hands shall not disturb it, or the country's done for. You will therefore permit me to repeat emphatically that Marley was as dead as a doornail. Scrooge knew he was dead. Of course he did. Of course he did. How could he be otherwise? Scrooge and he were partners for I don't know how many years. Scrooge was his sole executor, his sole administrator, his sole assign, his sole. All right. So we got a couple things going on here. Woo! As you know, if you've watched this series before, I'm not saying what I'm reading is bad. Obviously, it's Charles Dickinson, but I am not a fan of exposition dumps. All right. About the poll, by the way, I like to start with dialogue. Dialogue. Well, dialogue. Well, that's fair. That's fair. I'm sorry that's not on there. But if you had to choose, one that is on there, which would you prefer? All right. By the way, I love starting with dialogue, especially in the book. Not necessarily the first chapter, but in the book. Definitely makes because it's good pacing tool. I've always loved the phrase "dead as a doornail." It opens up a lot of discussion there. All right. Okay. And even Scrooge, not so dreadfully covered. The mention of Marley's funeral brings me back to the point I started from. There is no doubt that Marley was dead. Marley is dead. We get it. Must be strictly understood, or nothing wonderful can come of the story. I am going to be like, Jesus. I love to start with sensory details, especially when it comes to baking scenes. I know you love writing those food books. Can't go wrong with sensory details. It smells like baking in here. This must be directly understood, or nothing wonderful can come of the story I am going to relate. If we were not perfectly convinced that Hamlet's father died before the play began, there would be nothing more remarkable in his taking a stroll at night in an early the easterly wind upon his own ramparts. Then there would be, in any other middle-aged gentleman rashly turning to darken the breezy spot, say St. Paul's churchyard, for instance, literally to a star. Okay, let's get into it. Oh my god. Not only is it beating the bones of a dead horse, but I don't know if you know this, but Marley is dead. Oh. Okay. I don't know if you know this, but this is the first page. All right. Oh my god. All right. My dear Scrooge, how are you? Jesus. There's no talking. There's nothing. I'm looking at page 2 to see if it goes anywhere. All right. You know what? Ignoring page 2. Let's see if I could do it based on this. Woo! All right. Rewriting a Christmas. Is it going to be a Christmas Susan? Heyo! It was very funny, Richard. I actually. It was very funny. Keep it like a fire, Carl say. Kind of like, yeah. No rolling pin action. Yay, I gotta go. All right. So, okay. There's one physical truth to this moment, and that's side eyes you. No. I love that gong. The gong. Right now, this is the only. Where's Emma when I need her? I think she's out and about. She's celebrating. She's celebrating life. She's celebrating life. So if anyone's paying attention, Marley is dead. And we need to know that Marley is dead. However, Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon change for anything he chose to put his hand to. Oh, Jesus. So I'm assuming he signed this. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it. Scrooge signed it. Marley was dead to begin with. Jesus. Mind, I don't mean to say that I know of my own knowledge what there is particularly dead about a doornail. I might have been inclined myself to regard a coffin nail as the deadest piece of ironmongery trade, but the wisdom of our ancestors is the simile, and my unhallowed hand shall not disturb it. Oh, okay, so this is Marley was dead. Oh man, I want to say it's Marley, but it's not. If Marley was as dead as a doornail, and then he's saying Scrooge knew he was dead. All right. I'll be lurking and listening in the chat. Thank you, JK. All right, we're trying to find an entry point here. And right now, let's go through it a little bit. All right, Marley was dead to begin with. That's telling. What is the difference between action and movement on the pole? So action is like he punched them, or he was running, or the cars were chasing. He fell down the stairs. They kissed. All right. Movement is that we are flowing through something emotionally, but more importantly, something is happening. It's an evolution of a moment. So the best example of movement is let's say we took I'll do movement with action. So action is he grabbed Jacob's hand. Oh, actually, I'll just write it on the screen. So cold hands. Let's see. Dead. All right. So the reason this is movement and not just action, so movement is connected to other things. So Davin fell to the floor. I just made this up. Davin fell to the floor, grabbing Jacob's cold hands as he fell from the closet, dead and lost in a stare that drilled into his own mind and fear. Okay, so what's happening here is Davin is experiencing the action. It is not just action. Something is happening because it is through the emotional experiences and choices of the character. That is what ultimately makes movement. So it has to be through the emotional experience and choices of a character, and that becomes movement. Something is happening. It's not just something is happening, but nothing is happening. Something is actually happening. We are experiencing the characters. Good question. I don't know. I just tried to intrigue the reader in the first chapter. It could be any one of those. That's a great approach. I mean, you should be trying to intrigue the reader, as they say. Um, but part of this video too about author's voice is understanding that you have to make choices, right? Part of being a writer is asking questions and then making choices and then having a conviction to that choice or a confidence in that choice. And that's what develops your author voice. So it's not just like, hey, I'm trying to how is this opening intriguing? So it's less about how is this opening intriguing and more about what is happening, why is it happening, who's it happening to, where are they? So it's the who, what, where, when, and why, and sometimes how. So if you're answering those questions, it's not a matter of intrigue the reader. Because if you're writing to intrigue the reader, you're not writing of substance, right? And I'm not saying that negatively. I'm just saying that the writer part has to make choices first for the narrative. Remember, we're always serving narrative first. If we serve reader, then the narrative is just going to be chasing every potential reader. But the problem with that is it's all subjective. So, like a comedian, if a comedian goes on stage and they're like, hey, I told a joke and 30 people laughed, but there were 70 people there, so I'm going to rework the joke. No, the joke might be working. It's just your audience was only 30% of the 70 people, or whatever the case is. 30 people of the 70, right? If you're just constantly chasing to get everybody to laugh, it'll never work. You'll always be losing people. So you as a writer need to make choices, which is why we're doing the author voice video. All right. And just stick with your guns, and eventually you'll find your audience more or less not great. Okay. I usually start with someone doing something like opening a door or picking something up, etc. Okay. That would be action. That would be action. The action. And if anyone else asks, I'll just leave this down here. Boop. All right. Again, let's get into this. Okay, you are welcome, my friend. You are welcome. So Marley was dead to begin with. Is telling. This is nothing. Nothing is happening. So remember, I just said something is happening, but nothing is happening. Marley was dead to begin with. This is neither action, thought, sensory detail, or movement. This is a statement. Now, remember, this book was written in friggin', what was it, like 1901 or something like that? When was this book written? Is it 1843 or something ridiculous like that? It's old. It's an old book. So the style of writing was completely different back then, and our way of experiencing writing has evolved over the years. So this was considered 100% appropriate for the times. So Marley was dead to begin with. Straight telling. So far, nothing is happening. It's exposition because it feels you need to know this. There is no doubt what about that. That is narrative voice. If we're talking about omniscient, that is technically character. If this, I'm assuming this is omniscient voice, but I feel like it is from the POV of somebody. But either way, this has a narrative tone to it. There is no doubt whatever about that. That is a position. So you know how I always talk about characters create positions, or you have to create positions? While you're writing, you discover character positions. You can give them positions to start with. They can have an opinion about something, and whether that opinion is strong somewhat or not at all, that's really up to you and the character itself. But there is no doubt whatever about that Marley is dead. That is a position that ultimately becomes a character. So remember, every line should have one or more of these three elements, which is ultimately plot forward, character development, or world building. And as you can see, this is indeed character. All right. Older than most life term. Yeah, that is yes. All right. The register of his burial was signed by the blah, 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 blah. This plot. Well, technically, this is plot too. This is plot, but is this telling plot? What I always try to do with, again, this is about author voice. What I try to do with my author voice, what's up, flowers? What I try to do with my author voice is, even though this is technically plot, I like to have it through movement. I like everything I do to be movement. It must be through the character's experience, the emotional experiences and choices. Why? Because all narratives are made up of both plot and story. Plot is what needs to happen no matter what, and story is how it unfold, how the plot unfolds uh, through the emotional experiences and choices of the characters. If you don't have both of those within any given moment, that's when I personally feel it loses. The narrative isn't complete. So in this situation, yes, there is plot, but there isn't through the emotional experiences or choices of characters. So this becomes telling because it's the author making a statement. However, the character or the POV, I guess, is me, has a position on. And then this is the registry clerk. This is just more. This is more exposition. Scrooge signed it. This is technically plot. This is all plot, but it's just like things are happening, but nothing is happening. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon change. Is this pronounced differently, or is this... It changed? No, it's just change. It's just the English. For anything he chose to put his name on, this is potentially a position. But by the way, if you didn't know, Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. Mind! I don't mean to say that I know of my own knowledge what there is particularly dead about a doornail. This is character because it has personality and position on it. It's funny, but I might have been inclined myself. So this is all character now. I might have been inclined myself to regard a coffin nail as the deadest piece of monogamy in the trade, but the wisdom of the ancestors is a simile, and my unhollow hand shall not disturb it, or the country is done for. So this is character. We talk about characters good. I still don't think anything is necessarily happening right yet. That doesn't mean, again, I'm not saying any of this is bad or it's poor writing. I'm giving you, because the way I approach writing, I'm trying to show you how I articulate my author's voice and what it is I'm looking to do and how I'm looking to change this when I do the writing experiment. But more importantly, again, I'm trying to make choices, right? And as a writer, your voice is based on those choices. And one of the choices I like is I like to see something happening. I don't like it when it just feels like we're just being talked to and there's just exposition. And I like the character humor's there. Like, I don't mean to say that I know of my own knowledge what there is particularly dead about a doornail. Like, there is character there. Like, I like that. But how long can it go for before, like, imagine it's just a character sitting there and he's like, I was just the other day, I was walking across the street and I saw a chicken. And then, not because he was afraid. He definitely ran across that road through the cars. Why? No one knows. Like, there's technically character and it's technically something. Hey, everybody, it's Emma. It's the most beautiful girl in the world. I don't know why that just popped up. My brain. Okay. Popping into boop, the like button. Hi, Emma. All right. So again, I'm not saying this is bad writing. If you write like this, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying that, like, for me to make choices, this is just not happening for me. But I'm still trying to figure out where. I think this is going to be harder than Lord of the Rings, because at least in Lord of the Rings, I could create, like, the physical movement. What I'm thinking of doing is representing Scrooge signing. I think I'm just going to take this and create a scene. Thanks for popping in, Emma. Other than that, I think I'm going to just have Scrooge in his building. I think. I don't know. Hi, Diana. I've been reading your book. Uh, I haven't responded on the thing because I don't want to touch it, but I'm gonna read it, take it in, and then I'll give you some feedback. But so far, fantastic, fun read. It is a fun read. It. I'm not going to give feedback on here on anything, but just know that the feedback that I do give has nothing to do with believing that it's a final product or anything. I'm just going to give you my opinion as just reading it as a beta reader of some sort. So you're going to get my experience reading it and what I like about it. And the other stuff, I don't do, that's either before the writing starts or after the writing starts, when you're like, I think I'm done. Like, that's when I would give, because you ever give something to somebody and it's literally the first draft and they're like, oh, this line should be adjusted, or, this word. And you're just like, it's the first draft. I don't need that. I don't need that information yet. Line editor comes at the end. Yeah, I'm not saying that's what I noticed. I'm just saying I'm not going to give you that kind of feedback. I'm going to give you soul experience feedback. Hi, Diana. Mm-hmm. All right. Anyone that doesn't know, there is a poll. What is your instinct for writing the first line of a chapter 1? We have start with action, which is kapow, boom, something is happening, somebody is running. If it starts with character thought, it was a long and dark night, and I knew that nothing would make sense. Actually, technically, this is starting with character thought. Starts with sensory. The flow of baked banana bread tossed up from the oven as he opened it up, readying himself for the night's party. That would be sensory. And starts with movement. I gave an example. Davin fell to the floor, grabbing Jacob's cold hands as he fell from the closet, dead and lost in a stare that drilled into his own mind in fear. Movement is when something is happening through the emotional experiences and choices of characters. All right. Whether it's action, thought, details, or whatever. And by the way, a statement like this is thought technically. This is not movement because nothing is actually happening and we're not experiencing the emotional truth yet. All right. Yeah, I've done that before. That's why I don't give anything rough to my mom. That's funny. That's really funny. All right, let's do it. Okay, this is not me writing it. I'm just writing some notes. Scrooge in his office, signing the paper, the final countdown paperwork for the burial of his partner, Marley. Marley has recently died. Dead as a doornail. All right. See, I'm making choices here to decide how I'm going to approach this and write this. I know I've been doing this for a half hour, but Lord of the Rings I thought would be harder than this. I'm telling you right now, this is. Again, I like A Christmas Carol. In fact, I love the play. I love the movie versions. I love Scrooged. Read this when I was younger. It was read to me when I was younger. We did it in school. But I'm just saying, with everything I know and everything I've developed, it'd be a couple edits. All right. You will therefore permit me not to repeat emphatically. All right. Emphatically. Emphatically. I think it's tickly. Tickally? Emphatically. Jesus. All right. Scrooge knew. By the way, this is a filter word. Nowadays, they tell you don't use it. But Scrooge knew he was dead He knew Marley was dead. Of course he did. How could it be otherwise, Scrooge? He and I were partners. All right. Oh, 1 second, everybody. 1 second. Do 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 do. I have a knock at my door. I'm back, everybody. Sorry about that. It was a delivery for something. Okay. It was a special delivery. I wish the pizza arrived. It was a special delivery, an unannounced delivery. It is snowing, by the way. And why do I sound like I'm from the radio? Okay. Marley is making comments about how they were partners and that Scrooge has no idea what's to come. Hmm. Hmm. He's partner. All right. He's not upset. Even Scrooge was not so dreadfully cut up. A mention of it brings me back to a point I started. There is no doubt. All right. Does two go to the door with you too? Yeah, it's just the three of us. Me, myself, and I. Reen. Now, two stays away from the door. She's afraid of everything, uh, pretty much. When I first started hanging out with her, she was afraid of everything, and then I had to like I would lay on the floor, just lay there, and then she would slowly come out and sniff, and I wouldn't move. I wouldn't even try to pet her. I would just lay there, and she would sniff, and then she would walk around me, and then if I moved a little bit, she would run away, and eventually she got there where she would like lay down next to me, and then once she started laying down, I would just like give her like a pet, a couple pets, then I would stop, and then eventually she just started hanging out with me all the time, and now I could pick her up. Now I could give her kisses. It's great. I could. Now she jumps in the thing and she's like, "Dad, pay attention to me." So it may have backfired. It may have backfired because now what she does is she'll start meowing by the stairs for me to go. She literally will meow, 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 and I'll go over there and she's by the bottom of the stairs, which is basically code for Dad. Can we go upstairs and lay in the bed? And I'm like, it's midday. But as soon as I start walking, she'll go up the stairs. I get to the top. She meows. I have to follow her. Then she jumps in the bed, and I have to lay on the bed, and I have to lay there like this. I gotta pet her a little bit. Then she lays down, and then I'm allowed to go back down and do what I want. All I'm saying is, it's like I'm its slave. All right. to change that. All right, my cat I had growing up used to growl and run under the bed whenever the doorbell. That thing, like, I love that. All right, snow, cold, tame. Mm, Snow, snow. I don't know, snow, cold, dead, fluttered through me, passing, untamed breath. Eternity. Feeling. Beneath. uh, Feeling the streets. Feeling the cobble streets. Because it says it's cobble, right? It's cobble. Cobble. Oh, it says it was cobble streets. It was Victorian, right? It's Victorian age. Hey, what's up, Sean? Welcome to the Rewrite the Greats. All right. I want, okay, Finn, okay. Snow, cold and dead, fluttered through me, passing an untamed breath across an endless beat of eternity. Of eternity. Passing. Filling cobblestone. Cobblestone streets. What's oh hey Sean. Hey Sean. All right, I'm trying, everybody. I'm trying. Snow cold and dead fluttered through me, passing in an untamed breath of endless eternity, filling over cobblestone streets beneath the lifeless loss of warmth I once felt. I once felt. Oh yeah, I'm doing a rhythm, Lost the warmth I once felt. I once ignored in honor of the fallen coin to my pocket. People carried on. People carried on around me, being unaware. Carried door. Oh, spectral. People carried on, unaware. Carried on, unaware of my spectral presence. All right. People carried on, stepping by, unaware. Hey, wave, 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 a wave, a wave, 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 wave. All right. People carried on, stepping by, unaware of my spectral presence. They're broken war boots. Scraped. All right. Broken poor boots. Privy. Is that it? British? Privy? Privy. All right. I spell that right? Privy. Yeah. Okay. What's up, everybody? By the way, if you are just hopping in and you haven't seen it already, remember there is a poll. The poll we're going to talk about in a couple minutes. One is your instinct for writing the first line of a chapter. Start with action instead. Oh, start with action. Start with character thought. Start with sensory details. Start with movement. Just real quick, if you don't know, action is physical. It's, they ran around, they stumbled, the door opened, the car stopped, the sirens were blasting. Movement is when something is happening and it is specifically moving through the character's emotional experiences and choices. Therefore, the example on the screen, Davin fell to the floor, grabbing Jacob's cold hands as he fell from the closet dead and lost in a stare that drilled into his own mind and fear. So, feel free to pop an answer. Let's get back to it. All right, I'm trying, people, to write this opening, but snow, cold and dead, fluttered through me, passing in an untamed breath of an endless eternity, filling over cobblestone streets, beneath the lifeless loss of a warmth I once felt, I once ignored, in honor of the fallen coin to my pocket. People carried on, stepping by, unaware of my spectral presence. Broken, poor boots scraped the streets, carrying these people in the thick. Oh, carrying these. Flakes of Christmas coming. Stirred? No, steered. Steered. The call. Steered. I know I use weird phrasings, and by the way, that's something that has to do with my author voice. I like to, again, I like clear lyrical tone. So whenever I could play with words, especially through characters, I'm trying to think like this character would think. Uh, they're making judgment calls because remember, uh, I'm writing this in Marley's POV, and Marley is already aware that he did wrong. So I'm trying to add some positions in there. And those positions are I once ignored in the honor of the fallen thing, and then a steer and a worry I no longer am privy to. All right, he's making judgment calls on himself and the people. Broken poor boots scrape the streets. He's judging the people around him. So they're not just descriptive choices that I'm making for descriptive sakes. It's me trying to put it through the character's POV, the way they are, especially because I'm writing in a first person, which, by the way, is not normally the way I would go. But I'm just trying to understand how he's recognizing it. Snow, cold, and dead fluttered through me, passing in an untamed breath of an endless eternity, because he's dead forever, okay? I've got to concentrate. I've got to concentrate. Echo, echo, echo. That's a funny. You're a funny. Where's the thing? Oh, here we go. Boop. All right, we're going to go. Ah, that looks terrible. Let's go back over here. Let's go back over here. All right, we're going to go here. All right, I'm going to try to get through. What was the business called? Wasn't Marley sentenced to an eternity of carrying chains? I can't remember. Oh, yes. Yes. All right. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's good. That's good. That's good. I'm going to have to pop that in there. All right. I said, my voice silent to those around me. Let me get to the chains. The chains. The chains, those rattling chains. That's right. That's right. Okay. People, okay. My voice silent to those closer around me. All right. A chain of events. Yeah, that's right. I raised my arms. Clack, clacking. Sludged along in the door. Did they the door before me? Oop, or the door I stand before now. Door. Read. Held in protective greed. Scrooge and Marty. Oop. All right. Let's okay. All right. Snow cold and dead flooded through me, passing in an untamed breath of an endless eternity, filling over cobblestone streets beneath the lifeless loss of a warmth I once felt. I once ignored in honor of the fallen coin to my pocket. People carried on, stepping by, unaware of my spectral presence. Broken, poor boots scraped the street. Or is it streets? Carrying these people in the fallen thick flakes of Christmas coming, steered in a worry I no longer am privy to. I raised my arms. I raised my arms. Uh, the clanking ring of fate I now sludged along in. Did I spell that right? Yeah, I guess. Did they hold me back, or the door that I stand before, or did they hold me back, or the door that I stand behind? Chains, chains, oop, chains, chains. Phew. Trying. I like that they made Goofy play Marley. Oh gosh! I can't do it. Oh gosh! All right. I raise my arms, arms, the clanking ring of fate. I now sludged along in chains, chains as long as my greatest failures, chains as chains that weighed in heart and spirit. In pain and plunder of a life I destroyed in each choice you purchase. Did they hold me back? No. Ah, where am I still? Did they hold me back now, or did my own worry freeze at the door stood before? Okay, a door. Okay. That was a really good line. So, oh, heart and spirit, pain, and thank you, Diana. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying. You got to remember, I do no work before this, so it's all sort of off the cuff, and I'm just trying to show the process, but I appreciate that. In pain and plunder of a life, I just thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so we did an hour. Let me just finish this. Scrooge and Marley. I said my voice silent beyond my own hearing. Beyond my own hearing. Get loud enough to hear. I said my voice silent beyond my own hearing. No other tell of my being yet loud enough to hear. Okay. Phew. All right. It's fun to see the thought process as you work through it. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I like doing these. These are definitely fun, and I like showing everybody the notes I take because not that I do this when I'm writing my own scenes because I have the outline for that, but I don't have an outline right now. So this is technically like a short outline for me for the scene, and ultimately I'm writing the next beat to this was I'm not gonna write it now, but I was gonna write that he's seeing the sign, he's seeing the door, then he was gonna walk through the door, and then I was gonna get into all. Uh, so I did all this. Oh no, I was gonna show this. I was gonna have this. I was gonna just do those three beats. So he's gonna walk through. He was gonna then recognize Scrooge sitting at the desk, dealing with people, signing paperwork, and then not even sort of upset about it. And then I was gonna that was where I was going. That was the next beat. So this was the opening beat. I did it in what is this? What do you think? This is 250 words. 188 words. That was close. That was close. So that's pretty uh quick opening, but it's telling you a lot. There's a lot happening in this beat. Watching your process made something click for me too. Working on a short form outline for my book one, I want to send you my stuff, but I have to organize it better. That's fair. That's fair. Well, just keep in mind, whatever you do send to me when we work together, we'll be going through it anyway. I'll be asking questions because, as my father used to always say, you need a follow up question. I cannot presume what it is I'm reading is what I'm reading, so I always like to ask questions for clarification. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. All right. So let's do it. Let's read. By the way, if anyone's wondering, this is what movement looks like. So when we talk about the poll in a little bit, this is what movement looks like. It is flowing through the character's experience and choices. The character is experiencing the world around them. They are making choices based on it. Choices, by the way, are judgment calls. Choices are statements of self-reflection. I am also creating plot, character, and world building within the sentences. I'm using logical narrative of movement, etc., etc., etc. So let's read through it and see what it sounds like. All right. Snow, cold and dead, fluttered through me, passing in an untamed breath of an endless eternity, filling over cobblestone streets beneath the lifeless loss of a warmth I once felt. I once ignored in honor of the falling coin to my pocket. People carried on, stepping by, unaware of my spectral presence. Broken, poor boots scraped the streets, carrying these people in the fallen thick flakes of Christmas coming, steered in a worry I no longer am privy to. I raised my arms, the clanking ring of fate. I now sludged along in chains, chains as long as my greatest failures, chains that weighed down on me in heart and spirit, in pain and plunder of a life I destroyed in each choice, each purchase. Did they hold me back now, or did my own worry freeze me at the door I stood before, a door that held a sign I saw only as a warning? Scrooge and Marley. I said, my voice silent beyond my own hearing, for no other could tell of my being, yet loud enough to hear over the rattle of chains hanging from my limbs. All right. There you go. That is my author voice. That is me rewriting the opening of Christmas Carol, which, in contrast, is Marley was dead to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergy, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon change for anything. Okay? Oh, I got some hunts and clappy dappy doos. Cool. As in snow, ice, cold. I like it. All right. There you go. That was bet. Oh. I am blushing. I'm. Thank you for that, Diana. I appreciate it. I needed that. I needed that. It always helps the heart. Damn, that hits. Oh, thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. Much love. All the love. I really love the love. I love the love. I love the love. No, but seriously, I appreciate that. I felt it in my bones. I try to write like as if I'm watching a film. So like, how do we process that emotion, So that's where the lyrical and the rhythm, because I try to use the words too, like the not just describing things, but how is it being felt through the character. I'll be honest, I'm surprised I was able to get anything out, because reading the original, I'm like, what is the physicality of it? Like, what is going on? Other than just explaining stuff, it's just telling us Marley is dead, ultimately. So I think that's what really clicked with me. I that's what resonated within that piece. And I was like, you know what? This feels stronger if we're plus, by the way, the chapter title is Marley's Ghost. So I think it feels good that like you start it there. The film adaptations almost always start from Scrooge's POV, but it's really interesting that your adaptation starts with Marley's POV. Well, again, the way it reads as if it almost feels like it's Marley kind of talking about it, and it's also called Marley's Ghost. So the way I would approach the whole thing is maybe I'm sorry. It starts off with Marley. Marley goes in, sees Scrooge. Scrooge is doing all the stuff he's doing that I mentioned, but then it shifts to Scrooge when what's his name? Tom? I think is it Tom? Bob Cratchit. How did I not? Bob. Of course it's Bob. Anyway, so where I would do the switch to Scrooge is when Bob comes in and almost distracts the moment. And since Bob can't see Marley and no one can see Marley really, it would be to me, the camera shift would work because the bell would ring on the door, because you can't hear the bell when Marley walks through it. The bell would ring on the door, and that would be the shift to Scrooge noticing Bob Cratchit. And that's how I would have. That's what I would have done. So it would have eventually gone into Scrooge's POV, but other than that, I had a lot of fun with this. All right, boom. I figured it was Christmas time, so I might as well do a Christmas rewrite of the greats. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got here. What else we got here? What is this? Oh, backgrounds. I don't need this up there. I don't need that. Oh, no, I do need that. Okay. Battle. Whole time. What is your instinct for writing the first line of chapter 1? As you can see, my instinct is writing with movement. I like to flow through something happening and going through. Oh, what do we got here? I got a few books in the mail, including one by this guy talking about success. Hey! Solid. One by Emma Bennett. Fantastic. Xmas gifts to myself. Can't wait. Much love to you, SB, for the purchase and the support to elevate and celebrate everybody, but not just me, but Emma as well. And you know, and I know you have the Patreon, and I know when time hits you, you'll be able to go back and read some stuff there. And I just I'm praising that it is helpful to you because you're so supportive and so loving and so wonderful. Uh, thank you for the purchase. I really do appreciate it. So all right, everyone, we have some really good votes. By the way, there are no wrong votes. There are no wrong votes in this poll. We're just talking about it. So, what is your instinct? I have a. It's killing me that I can't change it, but start with action instead. Should just be start with action. My brain. Uh, yeah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Wait, I don't remember the words. Major fifth. Okay. So we have 36% would start with action instead. Start with action. We have 18% for both. Start with character thought and sensory details. And then, of course, we have start with movement, 27%. There are no wrong answers. These are all great choices. Fun fact, action is a visual. And did you know the higher percentage of sensory detail on the page for most writers, including quote-unquote traditionally published writers, is the visual format of sight because it describes what is happening. So it's interesting, but it's not unheard of that action would indeed be chosen first. In fact, what is the average use of sight compared to other sensory elements in fiction writing? Yeah. As per what I'm about to read, sight is by far the most frequently used sensory element in fiction writing, dominating over sound, touch, smell, and taste. Of course, also time. Time is a sensory element. If you don't know that, the sense of time movement. So the passing of time, the experience of time for a character, how they are experiencing something. So, like, if the world slows down to them, that's time. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Well, there are no precise average percentages, of course, across all fiction. Critical analysis and writing guides consistently indicate that sight makes up the overwhelming majority of sensory descriptions, often to the neglect of other sensories. This includes traditional published authors. Now, what does that tell you? It means that when you're on your second, third, or even fourth draft, something you should be looking at within your chapters is saying, what other sensory elements can I add that not only narratively makes sense and move the story, the narrative forward, but creating narrative momentum. But what would these characters or the POV of this character truly be paying attention to? Remember, it's okay that it is mostly sight, but if you truly want immersion, you got to go deeper and deeper and deeper from what do you have? You have the sound of the world around you, the smell of the world, the taste. Just the example I used for this, as you can see, there are multiple. What do we got? Snow, cold, and dead. This is sight and touch. Cold, cold. Okay, fluttered through me. This is actually a different. This is creates texture and there's another word for it. There's another word for it. Passing in an untamed breath of endless eternity. That's emotional. Filling over cobblestone. This is visual. This is just sight. Beneath the lifeless lost. This is emotional. I once ignored. This is emotional. All right. People carry on. Stepping by, unaware. Broken, poor boots. Scraped. This is sound. So far I have I have sound. I have touch, and I have the sight. Carrying these fallen people, Christmas coming. Erase the chains. This is more sight. This is sight and sound. And weighing down and the plunder. This is emotional. Did they hold me back? Okay. So I got a few, just within the 288 words, I got a ton of sensory elements in there. And that's what you really should be looking for. What is the hero is what if the hero is blind and deaf? They first of all, fantastic approach idea. If you haven't, I recommend going for it. Um so if the hero is blind and deaf and you're writing from first person, it's all about what they feel. It's the physical sensation and the mental and emotional sensation. Okay. So that's important to realize. Like you have to go through those. The smell is also important and taste. So those things will be heightened elements. If it is third person limited, you can also do those same things and ignoring the visual. However, you do get a little leeway because it's third person. If it is omniscient, then you don't have to worry about it. You can write it through the POV of the omniscient God of narration. So that's something to think about. But by the way, that would be a really amazing kind of restriction because blind and deaf. Wow. That would be fun because then you have to sort of write out the other sensories. But anyway, all right. Great question. Great question. Great question, Afghani. I'm gonna give you an. All right. Resources for dominance of sight. Okay, so humans are primarily visual creatures anyway. An estimated 80% of all sensory information that we perceive in life is through sight. This natural bias is human perception is mirrored in how people write and communicate about the world. Interesting. Diana, you go take that nap. Thank you for joining us. Boom. Next week is not Christmas, but I'll see you next week. Or tomorrow. Tomorrow, if 2:00, we are doing write a book with me. Ease of use. Sight is the most immediate and straightforward sense for setting a scene and providing readers with a clear visual reference. It is easier for a writer to describe what something looks like, color, size, shape. It was both small in shape and size. All right, then to describe a specific texture or a nuanced smell. Interesting. See you tomorrow. Take care, Diana. Tomorrow, yay. Yay. Sorry, I'm in a singing mood. The English language, and many others, might I add, contain a significantly higher number of greater variety of unique visual words compared to words of other sensory elements. This makes it linguistically easier to write detailed visual descriptions. My heart is with you. Here's something interesting. The role of other sensories. Well, sight dominates. Writing experts emphasize the importance of incorporating the neglected senses to create an immersive, multidimensional experience for the reader. The less common senses, when used effectively, can evoke strong emotional responses and memories, bringing a scene to life. So, if you're thinking about adding some sound or auditory imagery, this establishes atmosphere and the rhythm of a scene. An example: the honking of horns, the crackle of fire. Okay, touch, tactile. Ooh, tactile. I like tactile. All right, this conveys texture, temperature, the physical. All right, so tactile was the cold. So the way I explained the cold and everything. The physical sensation, anchoring the reader, usually, in the character's physical experiences. Thus, the plot through the emotional experiences and choices of the characters. Oriole. Something like that. Oral. Yeah, oral. Is that how you say it? Oral? Oral. Yeah, oral. Oral. Yes, related to the ear. All right. Smell, on the other hand, would often the most direct trigger of a memory and emotion. It can be a powerful, intimate detail for world building and character development. I like using smell to set scenes too. Like, so the scent of the rain, the aroma of street food, the smell of its people. Like, if you're in a huge crowd, remember, people smell, especially if you're writing in like that old like medieval kind of time, you know, and it's epic fantasy. Like, people didn't shower. Okay. All right. Taste as also gustoria. Gustorori. How do you say gustorori? Gustorori. Gustatory. Gustatory. Gustatory imagery, primarily used in scenes involving food or drink. It often, you know what's funny? I use taste for other things. So, like, if somebody's kissing somebody, or if, you know, if they smell something, I'll allude that to a taste. I try to make taste feel a little differently than, you know, I try to play with taste if I can, when and where I can. I have a scene. I have a scene where two characters are making out in like the like water, and like the water goes into their mouth and stuff like that. Are there copyright laws against naming specific songs or musicians? That's a fantastic question, Sean. So, you're allowed to name songs, okay? You're allowed to name musicians. You're allowed to even talk about bands. You're allowed to use song lyrics. What you can't use is write out the entire song. What you can't use is, well, it would be considered trademark infringement. You can't use the imagery of the band. But you can absolutely be like, Sean walked in wearing his Black Sabbath shirt. I still think about that first line. Figure in black, which points at me. Right? You can have that in your book. But you can't have the whole song. You can't have the entire lyrical song. You could even say, Sean laying there with his eyes closed and his headset on, and the long spirally wire reached the stereo blasting Paranoid from Black Sabbath's Black Sabbath album. You could write that. You just cannot use the whole lyrical context. And then as far as certain brands, though, so this is an important thing. If you mention Apple, as in like the phone, in your book, we would call it legal. Legal might say, hey, we might have to change that. If Apple's being represented in a poor light, they usually are like, hey, don't do that. Yeah, so but that, like if you wrote, like a specific kind of alcohol, whatever, they really won't bother you, but it is technically, they own the right to the name per se. But if it is culturally relevant and moves within the narrative and doesn't necessarily use it as a selling point, then you can do it. I tweaked Seether lyrics in my first book. Again, as long as you didn't use the entire song, that is different. Something I've done in the past for like screenplays and stuff like that is I have them sing the wrong lyrics, and then someone's like, that's not how the song goes. And they're like, that's exactly how the song goes. And they're like, no, you said this word when it's this word. So you can do that too. So many times I've used lyric songs playing in the background, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just can't write out the entire song. Hey, Thomas, do you want more followers? Send me a message to blah, blah, blah. Oh, the kick. Yeah. It's way up there. It's way up there. Hey, would you like more followers? All right. Okay. No bot. No, I got a kick. We did get it earlier. I just skimmed right through it. I've always wondered about that. Thanks for clarifying. Anytime. Yeah, just small parts. Yeah, that's all you need. In fact, in film, if I'm filming something like a movie or a television show, I do not have to get the permission to film anything that is like on a billboard, or like, if we're filming outside the Ford where they build the car. It's a Ford factory, and you can see the word Ford. I don't have to get permission to have that in the background. So like, as long as it's not narratively important, you know. But I could write a movie about the Ford company, uh, but using, like, if I showed the Ford, like if we were in the office at Ford, I couldn't use the Ford logo without permission. But I can make a logo that says Ford. I can talk about Ford. So there's a lot of interesting legal elements to that. Oh, I already showed that. Yeah, just small parts. That's what she said. Figure in black, which points at me. Woo! Is that how that song goes? Right? Isn't it like that? Turn round quick and start to run. Find out I'm the chosen one. Oh no! Big black shapes with eyes of fire. The ending, we used to do a cover of Black Sabbath, but we would do it like really like even more doomy than it was. We just like, and then I had like this weird melody I used to play. But the ending where it goes, is this the end, my friend? We used to play the right, but then we'd go into like chords, so it'd go. Is this the end, my friend? And it'd be double kicks. We had a lot of fun with that. But now I'm old, so it doesn't matter. No more stage for me on the music end. Can't do it. Can't hold the guitar without going, my back, my back. All right, everybody. All right, all right. We did good today. I had a lot of fun. Christmas Carol. All right, I hope you learned a lot today. Oh, wait. Before we go, let's just do it. Let's just get it out of the way. Boom! MakeARightLeftHere.com. If you don't know, I have books available at MakeARightLeftHere.com. If you're interested, Breaking Down Success, The Foundation for Longevity is book 1 of 5 within my series, The Breaking Down Success. If you are looking to be successful in the entertainment industry, including being an author and writer, which is a part of the entertainment industry, feel free to check this book out. MakeARightLeftHere.com. I am officially formatting this book. I have 18 more chapters to go. I am currently formatting the book. I do not feel it will be ready for Christmas, but I do still need to print it out and check it out because that's all part of the game. Bring a stool out with you. That's funny. Yeah, but now, holding the guitar. Buy more stuff. My guitar weighs so much. I have a Paul Reese, a PRS. All right. Where was I? Oh, yeah. By the way, Death of a King is exclusively available on Patreon. So go to MakeARightLeftHere.com, click on Patreon, and you yourself can enjoy Death of a King. Now, remember, it is not just an epic fantasy, book 1 of 5, but you also see the behind the scenes stuff. I talk about my process. I teach. There are lessons. So you could read the evolution of the chapters from short form, extended, zero draft, first draft, and third draft, and see where the book goes. And that's a lot of fun. Plus, there is information and notes that you could read. Other than that, MakeARightLeftHere.com. With that said, could you please subscribe if you haven't done so already? And remember to hit that like button. All the interaction definitely helps the channel grow. And then there is merchandise, by the way. Remember to bloop that like button. There is merchandise. I'm not telling you as the audience right now. I'm telling the people who come back to watch us. Remember, you hear and see all this jibber jabber all the time. This is just so when people rewatch the video, it is here. I am trying not to. When I do this, I'm not pushing on you, the viewers, who are here live. You see this every week. I assure you, I am not trying to push it, but Everyone I know that's in my life is like, you gotta tell people stuff exists. I would happily just be like, go to make a right left here.com. But, you know, they're not wrong. You gotta show it. You gotta show it. You gotta show it. Gotta show it. By the way, happy holidays. All right. Other than that, stool. We're not pooping on lawn. What have I returned to? You return to jibber jabber. Jibber jabber. I love that jibber jabber. I just want everyone to know I'm not trying to come off like, stop. I am told constantly, hey, you got to at least say something. But, the reality is, once this is up and out after Saturdays and Sundays, people have to do a rewatch. So it's good to have it up there just for the new eyes. Flowers, I have been good. No lawn squatting. Sail, sail, sail. Sail, sail, sail. Pushers get pushed. You gotta push. Yeah, but there's pushing, and pushing pushes an agenda and pushes people away. But if you let people know it exists, there's a difference. If literally this was 2 hours of me going, buy my stuff, here's my thing, blah blah blah, then it'd be like, hey guy. But you earn it. You can earn it like on your social medias. By the way, on your social medias, if you post at minimum four adventure posts, like what you're doing, your process of writing, how the writing's going. Maybe you talk about your family. Maybe you talk about you went somewhere. Those are called adventure posts. They're like the process of. For every 4 at minimum, you could do 1 push me vote post, which is basically buy my book. So if you did 4 adventures, you could do at least 1, hey, buy my stuff. If in the last week you did 4 a day, well, then at the end of the week, you do 2 or 3 pushes. It happens. We got, very good, Sean. You're behaving. We appreciate it. Shovers get shoved. Mushers get mushed. I was reading that when you marry someone, their family becomes your in-laws. I don't know if you know that. There's this thing I could do when I go to eat something or I drink. The moment it touches my tongue, I taste it. Have you seen those videos? What are you talking about? Really? You can taste instantly? Get out of here. Instantly? Like you taste it? When it touches your tongue? You tasted it? Instantly. Oh, Jesus. All right. Is that everything? Did we do the whole day? Did we do the whole day? Did we make things happen today? Can you tell me where we're going? All right. Smokers get smoked. And if they divorce, they then become unlaws. Heyo! That is true. It has a smell that you can almost taste. I see what you did there. All right. I lost my taste and smell. Wow. I only get with so I can appreciate the irony. Oh, okay. Interesting. I lost my taste and smell. Not that you have to answer this, but when you eat, are you eating, like, are you just feeling the weight and texture of the food? Like it's just something in your mouth and there's just no taste? That's interesting. Like it's just something is there. You're just not tasting the quality of it. So you can feel it in your mouth as you chew the apple or whatever, but you can't taste it. That's interesting. SB, you should write a character with that sensory because you get to experience that. Whiffs. I eat. Something just happened outside. I eat in black and white. I dream in color. Ooh, that's a great line, by the way. I eat in black and white and I dream in color. Texture is important, but I can be blindfolded and not know what I'm eating. I got a super schnoz. I do this thing when I was in like studios, they would buy like pizza and they would have like 3 or 4 pizzas stacked in boxes and they would make bets on if I could figure it. And I'd be like, you have one with pepperoni, there's a pineapple, there's a plain, and they'd be like, how do you do that? I'm like, I got the super schnoz. Do you dream of electric sheep? Bah, bah. Dream, 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 dream. Oh, COVID, yes. COVID, yeah, COVID's a son of a bitch. COVID can go F itself. It can F itself. That's all I'm saying. Da, 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 da. Ooh, okay. I just want everybody to know that I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and children listen to hear the sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. With every Christmas card I write, may your days be merry and bright. Okay. Bill Nelson, do you dream in color? Oh, that is a real song. Do you dream in color? Yeah, well, that's old. 1981. Do you dream in color? How's that go? Music in the icebox, laughter in the dark, echoes in the silence, waiting for a spark. Hold me when I'm naked and catch me if you can. Suicide statements are the measure of a man. Do you dream in color? Do you dream in color? Do you dream in color? All right. That's probably not how the song goes, but turning on the wall screen, helpless to resist, video junkie looking for a fix. Sick obsession, terminal twist, caught in possession of ever open wrist. Do you dream in I don't know if that's how it goes, but that's how I'm assuming it. Is that? It is a real song. I just found the lyrics. I dream of wires. I dream of wires. Yes. What does this song sound like? Bill Nelson. I dream of colors. I don't know. Does it? Is it a song? Did I sing the lyrics? Did I sing it right? I don't know. Let's see. Sort of. Sort of. It goes. Sort of. He sings it. He sings it like with that British sway. He goes, music in the icebox, laughter in the dark, echoes in the silence, waiting for the spark. That's how he sort of did it. Not like it. I just listened to it for a second. That's sort of like how he goes. That was a fun song. That was fun. What other songs? Do we have other songs? It's Christmas time, right? Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. Over the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making springs bright. Now, okay. 11 minutes left on the dryer. I'll tell you right now, 11 minutes left on my dryer. Are there any really good Christmas songs out there? What is that one? Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem same. Throw cares away, right? Christmas is here. Ding dong. Ding. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I don't know. I forget how the rhythm goes. Rudolph the War Machine Reindeer had a very shiny gun, and if you ever saw it, you would think it nice to run. That's funny. Jeff Tingame. Jeff Ting Tingame. Jingle bells, jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg. The Batmobile lost its wheel and Joker got away. Hey, I believe in Father Christmas. Isn't that, I believe in Father Christmas. Well, that's an old song. They said there'll be snow at Christmas. I don't know the rhythm. None of the other reindeer ever called. I will check it out though. None of the other reindeer ever called him names. They didn't want Sir Rudolph to use them as his hunting game. That's funny. Where's that song from? Where's that version come from? Frosty the beer mug. Baba Claus. Green Lake even. That's funny. A beer mug. I don't know. I like bear mug. I'll be honest. What do you got? Deck dolls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. Don with now our gay apparel, fa la la la. Oh wait, fa la la la. How's that go? Fa la 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 la. Fa la 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 la. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol, fa la 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 la. See the blazing Yule before us, fa la 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 la. Strike the harp and join the chorus, fa la 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 la. Okay, I made it up. I'm gonna give you an applause for that. Fantastic. Those are great lyrics. I'll take a frosty fruit beer mug. You mean like this one? Is that one? Frosty the Snowman was a jolly, happy soul with a corncob pipe and a button nose and 2 eyes made out of coal. Frosty the Snowman is a fairy tale, they say. He was made of snow, but the children know how he came to life one day. There must have been some magic in that old silk hat they found, for when they placed it on his head, he began to dance around. Oh, Frosty the Snowman was alive as he could be, and the children say he could laugh and play, just the same as you and me. All together now! Okay. Krusty the Slush Man was an angry soul, you see, with poop for a nose and bourbon in hand, and 2 eyes for a hobo's peep. I guess once you have the melody down, you can put anything to it, right? First Noel. It's the first angels did. I don't know the rhythm to that. What else they have? Dancing. Hark, the herald. Have yourself a. Oh, I like this song. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. For now on our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. That's a fun song. I like those songs that have like those, like you could sing. Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus lanes, Vixen and Blitzen and all his reindeer pulling on the reins. Bells are ringing, children singing, all is merry and bright. So hang your stockings and say your prayers, 'cause Santa comes now tonight. Here comes Santa Claus, there comes Santa Claus. We used to have to sing that when we were in Boy Scouts. Here comes Santa Claus. What else? I'm trying to look for another song. Let's see. Okay, here's one. I saw mommy kissing Santa. How's that rhythm go? I saw mommy kissing Santa Claus underneath the mistletoe last night. She didn't see me creep down the stairs to have a peep. She thought that I was tucked up in my bed, fast asleep. Now think it in Spanish. Oof. Lo siento, yo no sé, no hablo español, señorita. Which one? Which one do you want me to sing in? Here Comes Santa Claus in Spanish. Oof, I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't speak español that fluently. No hablo español. It sounds like I know Spanish, but I assure you, "Donde estás mis pantalones" is the only thing I memorize because if I wake up in Mexico after a drunken night with no pants on, that and baño. Hippopotamus, hippopotamus. All right. I used to confuse the lyrics as a child and would sing Richard Nixon. First of all, that's fantastic. See, you get it. ¿Dónde estás mis pantalones? Jingle Bell. What about Jingle Bell Rock? Does anyone remember that song? Jingle bell, jingle bell rock. A jingle bells swing and a jingle bells ring, snowing and blowing up bushels of fun, and now the jingle hop has begun. Yeah, a jingle bells, a jingle bell rock. I'm sorry. I'll stop. But I'm having fun. Oh, here's one. Joy to the world, the Lord has come. Let earth receive her king, or something like that. I forget. Oh, I caught mommy kissing Santa Claus. I just don't remember the rhythm. I was trying to sing it before. I caught right. I saw mommy kissing Santa. I saw mommy kissing Santa. I just need to remember the rhythm, and then I could do it. I need to remember the rhythm. Is it slow? I think it's fast, right? Isn't the rhythm fast? Oh. I saw mommy kissing Santa Claus. Right? Something like, underneath the mistletoe. Right? Something like that. I'm not gonna be able to do it. I have to listen to it. I don't. It and Michael's gonna go. He's deaf. Did Dad? Oh, oh, it is. It is a. Tommy Connor wrote it though. Tommy Connor wrote it. But yes, this is a. This is a Jackson Fives. I saw mommy kissing Santa. I tried to sing it in his high voice. I couldn't do it. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. You're a bad banana with a greasy black peel. You're a monster, Mr. Grinch. Your heart's an empty hole. Your brain is full of spiders. Oh, come, all ye faithful. I need a choir to sing that. Oh, holy night, the stars are bright above. Oh, here's the song. Here's the song. Rocking around the Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop. Mistletoe hung where you can see. Every couple tries to stop. By the way, mistletoes, is that still a thing? Are we still doing that? Is that something I'd really love to know? Is mistletoes, do we put that at Christmas parties still? Or are we like, hey, calm it down. This is a family gathering, everybody. Let's put that away. Oh, we used to do a cover of 12 Days of Christmas with my heavy metal band. On the first day of Christmas, my true love sent to me. right? But we wouldn't say a partridge in a pear tree. We change it to like heavy metal stuff. I don't remember the lyrics, but we sang that song. People laughed. All right, that's it. Wow, Winter Wonderland. That's all I know. That's all I remember. Okay, everybody. I had a lot of fun today, by the way. My final words is basically, I think the Christmas Carol went better than I thought it would. I really, after reading, because I tried not to look at it before we started, and honestly, after I read through it, once we started, I was like, I'm not gonna be able to do this. I had that doubt in me. But the lesson to be learned here is, as soon as I started writing out notes and making choices and asking questions and coming up with ideas and then following those ideas, it started flowing out of me. And that's really what it is about being a writer. Writing is easy. Being a writer is hard, because being a writer is, you need to ask questions, you have to choose an answer, and you got to be confident and in your conviction to what it is you choose and lead with it. And that will help you develop your author voice, that'll help you develop the style in which you write, and that will definitely get you where you got to get as a writer. With that, thanks for all the good vibes. That's a fantastic way to end the show. Everybody, I will see you tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Write a book with me. We are flying through the series. But right now, I think it's time to get a little yum-yums in my tum-tums. With that, much love to everybody. I'm Thomas J. Bellezza, and as always, keep developing the right mindset. I'll see you next time.